Ever wonder how one city could stay in charge for more than 1,000 years? Well, today we're going to find out. We're jumping back in time to ancient Rome to see how they pulled it off. And trust me, it's a wild story full of kings, revolutions, and emperors.
Seriously, think about it. How do you rule a place for that long? It's a huge puzzle. And the Romans, well, they didn't get it right on the first try. In fact, they tried 3 totally different ways to run the show.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Phase 1 was all about the kings. For the first 250 years, and that is a really long time, Rome was a monarchy. Basically, that just means a king was in charge. And when I say in charge, I mean he made all the rules. What he said went, period.
But, having one person with all that power can go wrong, and boy, did it. The last king, a guy named Tarquin, was just awful, super proud and a terrible ruler. The people of Rome got so sick of him that they actually teamed up and, believe it or not, they kicked him out.
So that leaves a pretty big question, right? If you get rid of the king, who's in charge now?
Well, what they came up with next was a brand new idea for the time. They created something called a republic.
A republic literally means a thing of the people. The whole idea was that the citizens themselves would get to decide how things were run. I mean, that sounds awesome, doesn't it?
So how did this whole thing work? Well, instead of one king, they had 2 leaders called consuls. Think of them like 2 presidents, who could only be in charge for 1 year. And helping them out was a group called the Senate. These guys were advisors who got to keep their jobs for life.
But was it really a thing of the people? Was everyone actually equal?
Yeah, not so much. See, Roman society was split up. Way up at the top were the patricians. These were the rich, powerful families who owned all the land and, let's be honest, had all the real power. Then you had the plebeians. They were Roman citizens, but they were poor and didn't really get a voice. And then, at the very bottom, were the slaves. They were treated like property and had 0 rights.
This republic thing lasted for a few hundred years, but it wasn't perfect. And eventually some really big cracks started to show, which led to the last and maybe the most famous big change.
So what happened? Well, first, really powerful army generals started fighting each other to be number 1. This led to horrible civil wars all across Rome. It was a total mess. And when the dust settled, one guy was left standing, Augustus.
Augustus looked around at all the fighting and decided there was only one way to fix it, for him to take total control. And just like that, he became the very first Roman emperor. He had more power than any of the old kings ever dreamed of.
Okay, so we've seen a lot of changes. What does this all really mean?
Let's put it all together. Rome's government went on a crazy journey. It started as a monarchy run by one king. Then it became a republic, which was supposed to be run by the people, but was mostly run by the rich guys. And finally, it became an empire, with one super powerful emperor in charge of everything.
And that leaves us with a really big question, one that people are still asking today. What's the best way to lead? Should one person have all the power? Should a few powerful families be in charge? Or should everyone get a say? It's a tough one to answer. What do you think?